Hello everybody and welcome to number 8 on our Python exercise tutorial. Today in this exercise we're going to be working with already two defined functions. Okay, so recall that our functions, slash methods, we can think about as tools that we use to help us program. Okay, and we see we already have two defined. We have our dollar to euro function. And just by reading at the name of this function, we have a pretty good idea of what it does. We see that it takes in one parameter and it returns that parameter, right, that piece of data, and it multiplies it by 0.89. So we know that this function takes in a dollar amount and returns to us that dollar amount in euros. Okay, and that's all that function does. Right, you see that it ends right there in line 2. We also have another function, very similar, but now it takes that euro amount and converts it to yen. Okay, so same concept here. It takes in one parameter and it returns that piece of data times the conversion rate to yen. Okay, so two functions that are very similar, they just have slightly different logic, right, in the body of the function. Multiplies it by a different value. Okay, so now let's take a look at our instructions. Now that we have an idea of our functions here, and our instructions state that we want to use the two functions available, and we want to print on the console the value of $137 in yen. Okay, so we know we want to take our dollar amount and convert it all the way through to a yen amount. Okay, so based on looking at our functions here, we know that we can convert from our US dollars to euro, and we'll get back a euro amount. And then look at our second function, it'll take that euro amount and convert it to yen. Okay, so the main purpose of this problem here is we want to be able to call our functions and assign the result in a variable, and then use that variable as a parameter to call our second function, which would be the euro to yen. Okay, so let's take a look at how that will work here. We need to create a variable because we want to assign it the result of our function call. Remember that our function returns data, right? So we know we want to go from dollars to yen. Okay, so we need to follow these steps here. So we can create our variable. I'm gonna just say dollar and then to EU. Okay, $underscore EU. Okay, and we're going to assign this the return value of our function call, which is our function is dollar to euro, and we're going to pass in our dollar amount, which is 137. Okay, based on the instructions. Okay, so we know that we're calling our dollar to euro function, and we're passing in 137 as our data, and it's going to return to us that dollar value times 0.89, and we're going to assign that to our dollar underscore EU variable. Okay, so right now if I print the value that we currently have, we should have a smaller amount than we passed in, because we see that our converter multiplies it by 0.89. Okay, and you see that's exactly what we have so far. Okay, good. So this is our euro amount, right? From our dollar to euro amount. And now we want to take this euro amount that's stored in this variable and pass that into our euro to yen function. So now we need to create another variable. We call this one total amount. And what are we going to assign it? We're going to assign it our function call, euro to yen. And what are we passing in as its parameter? We know that this takes in a euro value, and since we know that's exactly what we got back with our first function call, that's what we're going to pass in, our euro amount in dollars. Okay, so now our total amount is going to contain our US dollars converted to first to euros and then from euros to yen. Okay, because see, we're calling our euros to yen function and we're passing in that value that contains our dollar to euro amount. Right, so we're passing in our variable that we assigned here in line 9. Okay, and the last thing we need to do is we need to print on the console the value that we just got in line 11 here, our total amount variable. So if I compile, you see we get this large number. Right? And if I run test cases, you see that we pass all the test cases. Okay. So with this problem, we're defining two functions, and we have to use these two functions to get our desired result. Okay. See in line 9, we called our dollar to euro, and we passed in our dollar amount, which got assigned to our variable. And then we needed that variable to pass it in as a parameter to our second function, euro to yen, because we know that our first function call in line 9 got us the first conversion, and we needed that to get our euro amount to convert it to yen. Okay. And again, we stored that result in our total amount variable, which is what we printed out to the console. Okay. So that wraps it up for this one, and I'll see you in the next problem.